Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is you call home on planet Earth. In this video, this is going to be more of just a Sunday morning chill video, if you know what I mean. I got some things I want to share with you guys, though, that are quite interesting. I'm working on material for the next video that I have for you guys that I know you guys are going to find truly fascinating. That's going to be coming up here soon. In this video, though, we're going to talk about a couple of things. One being the photo that you saw on the thumbnail. This thing right here. Almost like looks fake, right? I know. We're going to come back to that here in just a moment. And also, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, good morning, guys. What's going on? Hey, JP, Austin, Alucard, Drusilla, Andrew. What's going on, guys? Casa Grande in the house. What's up, Casa Grande? Cool. Good morning, guys. Seriously, this is just a chill. We're not going to dive too deep down too many rabbit holes in this video because it's too early. You know what I mean? Now, unless you're in the UK or somewhere over in Europe, it's already afternoon going into the evening time. But still kind of early here in Arizona, even though I'm an early riser. I like to get up early. They say the early bird gets the worm, right? I don't know if that's necessarily always true, but I do like to get up early, yes. And then this is always a hot topic of debate, but nobody really talks about it too much. You know what I mean? Good morning, Eddie. Good morning, Deborah, Lisa, Bobby, Vito, Ronnie, Deborah from Northern Indiana. I've been to Northern Indiana. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Wild West Texas hot already. You know what? I think it's supposed to be below average here in Arizona. Let's look and see. Here we go. Actually, right around average, I think. 107. I mean, that's could be worse. At least it's not 117. That's the way I look at it. It's 92 degrees right now here in Arizona. Jennifer, Clarksville, Tennessee. Hello, Missouri. Brocky's girl. What's going on, Linda? Linda DeWitt, good morning from the California desert. You're not too far from me, Linda. Florida in the house. That's Joni. I've been to Florida. Used to live in Florida. Indiana in the house. What's up, Amber? Humid in Missouri, Dawn. I believe it. It's humid in the Midwest. That Gulf moisture gets pushed up, and during the summer when it's hot, it does make the air almost feel like you could wear it. There's an old saying that says that. Morning, everybody. Good morning. If you guys have any questions, send them through in a super duper. Have you guys ever looked at this? I know you have. You're all very smart, curious people. I'm not convinced that this is just some sort of a rock formation. You know what I mean? There's too many things that point towards a tree. And if you look at the color on the surface of the ground here, the color goes in one way. And I could talk about this for hours. I'm not going to today. I'm just going to point out some of the obvious things. And if you want to pursue it further, by all means do so. The ground going in one direction, all the way over to here. You can tell that this was once a tall tree. At least that's the way I see it. But I've seen evidence of tall trees all around the world. So I'm not the only person that sees that, but the vast majority of people will disagree with me. And that's okay. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And like with this tree right here, there's an army of saplings growing around the base of this tree that once stood thousands of feet tall. That's why there's so many saplings. And these trees here we may consider big. They're babies. The sequoias over in Southern California are babies. But if you look at the ground here, notice the color formation. That color was inspired by the bark of the tree. That's what made the ground the color it is. And it's only in this area here. Let me get my handy dandy zoomer. There we go. So the reason the ground's that color is from the tree. Right there. It's nowhere else. Maybe a little bit over there. That's it. Nowhere else around the tree. So that tells you that the bark went this way and it stained the ground. Still there to this day, or that's petrified bark. That's what you're looking at right there. Kind of cool. This is a place I've visited many times looking at it, and I'm convinced that this was once a very tall tree. That's how the tree grew. That was once a living organism. You can compare it to other trees. Like here's a stump comparison right here from a known tree. This was once a tree here on Earth, and we don't even question it. That's a tree stump, right? You can see the square features on the top of this thing. And the more it dries out and the more it petrifies, the more these things are going to split and become vertical square shafts, just like you see right there. It's the same thing, just a different time, that's all. Same thing, different time. And notice even on the top of this stump, there's something growing right there. So things can grow out of these things. I think what grows out of them is what they once were. Like you see right here, there's trees all over the base of this place over here. How do trees grow out of rock? You know, it'd be a little tough to get moisture and things like that, right? If you look around here, there's trees everywhere. There's even trees on top of this thing, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look. Well, there's at least vegetation up there. Let's tilt. Now there's a view right there. Wow, that's 4,500 feet tall. Really? Okay, cool. It's a tall boy. Evidence of some sort of vegetation or growth right there, about 3,000 feet up. And then the trees all over the place. Those are simply saplings of what this thing once was. That's all they are. You get saplings in your yard. If you have a tall old tree in your yard, when it seeds, the saplings sometimes will turn into baby trees. That's what we've got going on here. It's the same thing, just on a much larger scale. We didn't see this evolve like we do the trees in our yard, so it's a little difficult to wrap our mind around. Well, this is the same thing that's going on in my yard, just on a super massive scale. And it happened before we were even here. So yeah, that's how I perceive this. These are all trees that are babies of this thing. And if you look close, the root system is quite obvious. See the bulge in the ground? You can see the bulging roots. That's what's creating the formation there. Email's working. Yeah, those are roots underneath the tree. And there was probably, if I had to guess, there's a river around here somewhere that once fed the tall boy. Is that a river or a road? Looks like a road. There was probably a river around here somewhere. Oh, there it is right there. There's the feeder. There it is. So whenever you see these stumps, look around, you'll find a feeder. There's the feeder. It's a river. We call them rivers. The tree feeders is what they are. What if all mountains were once trees? They were, Josh. I believe that. They were all once trees. Absolutely. And if you look around, you'll see like the Colorado River running through the Rockies. There's other rivers too. Those are feeders. That's what allowed the trees to grow. There it is right there. The Belforce River. And it runs right up to, you guessed it, the roots of the tree. So yeah, that to me is it's a hot topic that really never gets talked about too much. You know, people dismiss that as basalt that came up out of the ground and formed those perfectly square shafts. No, to me, they were once living organisms that are now petrified. They look more like this. In fact, I think I have a side-by-side. Yeah, there you go. There's the Wyoming surface feature, and there were probably others. They're just no longer visible. That was probably the biggest and the tallest. That's why it's and maybe the youngest. That's why it's still visible today. You can see the similarities. Once this one over here, the stump on the right, which is modern day, you can see the similarities. It just hasn't petrified yet. But something caused this one to petrify, I think, quicker than what we're seeing in today's world. something happened. I think there was some sort of an event that caused a lot of things to petrify really quickly. You know what I mean? Some sort of a cosmic event. There you go. There's a good look. You can see the square features on the stump in Wyoming, and you can see the square features on the stump in somebody's backyard. And things can grow off the top of it. Maybe probably vine or something that was once on the tree. Same thing over here. It was once a living organism. Agree or disagree? Show me a volcano that looks like this. Yeah, there's a lot of volcanoes that look like that. You're right. And in fact, somebody just shared a location with me, but I don't know what to think. In fact, I'll take you guys there. And we can come back to this location. We're just kind of having some fun this morning. Here we go. We're going down to North Mexico. Somebody sent this in, and their exact email was, could this be a large tree, evidence of a large tree? Show you where we're at. Just south of the Texas border in northern Mexico. There it is. And if you tilt it, you can see some very, very rugged terrain. And that one's not quite as obvious as the one in Wyoming, but I don't know. I suppose it could be. I don't know. I mean, it's got the right colors. You know, the colors are there around it. I'm not sure if is that a volcano? Like maybe a mud volcano or something? I don't know what we've got going on here. It's got that nice round feature to it. And that's what drew them to this location, was the round feature. And then all of the fingerlings all around the tree that look like possible branches, but it's got to have a feeder if it's a tall tree. And there's a feeder right there. I think that's a dried up feeder. Yeah, you can see there was a river that once ran through there. So it's got the necessary components. Got to have a river, got to have water, because these things once stood thousands of feet tall. So it took a lot of water. So I don't know about this one here. It could be, you can see the brown surface feature over here on the ground. It could be petrified bark. And again, like up in Wyoming, it's just on one side of the feature. Like all the bark fell over on this side. And that's what made the brown feature right there on the ground. So that very well could have been part of a living organism, a very large living organism that gives the ground the color that we see today. You know, you just have to kind of be able to see through everything else that's there and visualize what maybe once could have been there, you know, without actually going there. That's the thing about Google Earth. Google Earth can take you all around the world. What's this here? Oh, I thought that was, I find these, what's that? There's all kinds of weird stuff on here. Every time you get on Google Earth, you can find something new every single time. I found a bunch of old, what look like walls, four walls. Some of them are round up in the Andes Mountains, and I'm talking 15,000 feet. But it's signs of intelligent design and signs of life at 15,000 feet from long, long ago. These are very, very old structures. Don't know who built them, but someone sent this one in. Here's the center of it. So again, I don't know what to think of this. It doesn't look volcanic. You know what I mean? I suppose it could be, it's like signs of a wildfire in there. So maybe it was no? I don't know. That one's a difficult one to tell. That was sent in by a viewer, by the way. I didn't find this one. Just kind of looking around, guys. I'm sorry. What's up? Hey, moderator, thanks for stopping by. Oh, yeah. And guys, do me a favor and just hit the like button. It's free. It pushes the video out there further. That's all. What do we got over here? Something green. Hey, Rotten Dog, are you familiar with Mud Fossil University? Yes, I am. Smart person. Very smart. Yes, very intelligent. And has a very good eye for the surface features of the Earth, and finds all kinds of surface features that were once living organisms. You can find them all over the earth. Yeah, very fascinating. You're right. Mud Fossil University. Thumbs up for Mud Fossil. Yes, sir. What is that? I just love Google Earth. You know what I mean? Gives us all a chance to scour the earth. You can go anywhere you want from your desk. What's going on out here? This is out near this, what I suppose could be an old tree stump. Now we're seeing signs of modern life out here. People live out there? No. Yeah. Good Lord. You serious? What y'all doing for water and electricity and all that? Talk about off the grid. Lord, that's a whole new meaning to off the grid. But anyway, back to the original photo that I started the video off with. Oh, and something else I wanted to tell you guys real quick. We still have no seismograph activity to see. This is, actually, let me update this. Maybe there is. Let me refresh the page. No, there isn't. So no seismograph activity yet. Hopefully it'll come back on soon. But I've been following a person that's been going around the caldera looking for signs of activity. Oh, there's another super chat. Hang on. And I've found that the source is credible. So we're going to talk about that a little later. Hey, Alexander, thanks for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Grand Rising, Mr. Beloved brother. Happy Sunday. Oh, thanks. That's very kind. Thank you for the super chat. Let me get this mouse over here. Thank you, Alexander. Thumbs up there. Appreciate that, my friend. Okay. Someone sent me this picture. Her name, Terry Hunt. Terry Hunt shared this picture with me. That's what I used for the thumbnail of the video. Just a talking point, like the surface feature in Wyoming. It's a talking point. Some people swear it's basalt. It's evidence of nothing more than basalt that came up out of the ground during a highly volcanic active period. I disagree. I think it was a living organism. I think there's more evidence that it was a living organism than it was basalt. Even though it looks like basalt, it's the same shape. There's too much signs of life around the thing. So it was life. That's why there's so much signs of life around it. This, believe it or not, it looks fake, right? And I thought so too. I've had this on my desktop for about a week. And I'm looking around today. In fact, what I was doing was cleaning my desktop up because I accumulate so much data throughout the course of a week, especially a month, but I clean it every week. And I remember this picture. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so cool. In fact, it's beautiful. You know, you got to admit that's beautiful. But I'm like, probably AI, right? No, it's real. That's actually real. And that is over in, let me see if I can find it, over here in Southeast Africa. Are you serious? Yes, that's in a river along the border of Mozambique and Namibia. Or Zimbabwe, right? Let me see, let me back out. I don't want to lose my place here. Mozambique, where are you at? Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Well, there, Botswana. Yeah, Zimbabwe and Mozambique, Botswana. I knew it. Go out too far and lose my place. But anyway, it's a beautiful location in a river over here that runs into, and I knew it, I lost that river. Oh, my goodness. Well, it's on the border of Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Let me go back to there, see if I can find it again. I knew it. Is this it right here? No, that's an actual river, or I'm sorry, an actual lake. Well, anyway, this is where it's at, guys. It is real. It's over here. I knew if I backed out, I should have marked it. I hadn't marked it yet. But there's a river over here on the border of Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Oh, there it is. There's the river. You can see it's super muddy. And at times where the water gets a little bit shallow, it makes these absolutely beautiful surface features. You can kind of see a few in through here. Sorry, I'm going so fast. I'm trying to get back to the location that I was at. That is definitely not it. But anyway, I'll find it again and share it in another video. It's right down here in South Africa. And yes, that is real. As fake as it looks, it is so perfect and so beautiful. That is real. Yes. Down here in the southeast part of Africa. Let me change the heading. Let's see. It's Zimbabwe and Namibia, I believe. Let me look. Or Botswana. Right through here. Tilt it up. And the river runs into the Indian Ocean. So it runs this direction here. Yeah, it's real. Right on, man. It's absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful surface features down in here. I found a lot of cool stuff in, especially Madagascar. You guys know how I feel about Madagascar. Madagascar is one of my favorite places on the earth. Right there. You bet it is. And then the beautiful river that runs through here. If I could find it again, what did I do? Where's my river? That's it. But I had a really cool place to share with you guys that showed some of that actual surface feature creation in action. It was really cool. This isn't it though. This is a different color. This looks almost like a light clay. The one that I found was the same color. It was brown and everything. But that's where it's at if you want to find it. That is a real picture. It's not AI. At first, I truly thought it was AI. I really did. Let's go back to, oh wait, yeah, we were in, where were we? That's in northern Mexico. Still out on that one there. I don't know what that is. I don't think that's a tree. I really don't. The more I look at it, I don't think that's a tree. It's just some sort of a unique surface feature. Could have been the remnants of an old like mud volcano or something many years ago. I don't think that's a tree. There's plenty of trees around, but I don't think that's one of them. I want to go back up to Wyoming. Let me get my heading right. There's Yellowstone right there. There's something going on at Yellowstone. And yes, somebody had mentioned about the mountains. Africa. Yeah, that's where it's at, Rick. It's over in Africa. That is a real picture. That is over in Africa. Yes, sir. That's real. Trust me, I thought it was fake at first. It's too perfect. But sometimes nature works in absolutely stunning, beautiful ways. And that's one of those examples right there. Okay, where are you at? Big tree. My big tree, there it is. Okay, getting back up to it. Okay, you can see where the bark fell. That's why the ground is colored the way it is right there. The baby trees all around it. If you go over to the Sequoia National Forest, the sequoias are baby trees. There were once big giant trees there that literally make those look small. The sequoias are big. I know, they seem big to us, right? Because that's all we know. Nah, there were much bigger. Those are the little baby leftovers. This is to me conclusive proof that it's hard to say. I don't know what the width of this thing is. I know the height is like 4,500 feet tall. What we're looking at here, let's tilt it in this. Well, maybe we can measure it here. Let's see how wide this thing is. 300 meters. That's about 900 feet wide. Almost 1,000 feet wide. That's a baby too, right? And you can see right here, looking down, petrified bark that's fallen off the tree and petrified on the ground there. Leaning more towards the north and west. Bark went this direction. Part of the petrified tree fell that direction. Bark over here, you can see the root system all around it. See the big root system? Got to have a massive root system. If the external base is 1,000 feet wide, then you know that the root system is 10,000, 20,000 feet wide. There it is right there. Totally see it. So this one here to me was an easy one. There's the roots right here. Oh, these are roots, 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 roots. Roots, more roots. That's what makes up this hillside here. Tree roots. And then there's the babies. And that's what this thing once was right here. I'd hate to think how tall that was. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the amount of water that thing would require on a daily basis? Well, those aren't very good quality. Now let's see if we can get a street view. Then we can maybe look at the type of trees that are in this neck of the woods. Let's look and see. Oh yeah, cool. Let's go. Here we go. So there it is. Is that a... Definitely not a cedar. Looking up at it right there. Well, right there is what it was. It was this thing right here. These are babies. That's why they're all around it. That's what makes up the forest. That's why the forest is there. They're babies. Little babies, little saplings. There's a little tiny baby there. That was once a massive, massive tree. In my reality, that's the way I see it. Part of the thick bark. Yeah, pretty cool. I would like to go there someday. I really would. I'd like to go there and just go up and touch it. You know what I mean? Just go touch this thing. Yeah, Earth has a lot of mysteries that we don't know about, and a lot of the mysteries are under the ocean. You know what I mean? We haven't even began to discover everything and all the secrets that are hidden in the ocean. Not even close. You know, Mars has secrets, but we've been to Mars. I had a smart man tell me years ago that we were visiting Mars back in the 1960s. Yeah. And this guy was a trustworthy man. He was a very smart man. He was in the military in 1952. He ran his own business. He was 96 years old and still went to work every single day. Ran his own business. Yeah, he was from Minnesota. His name's John. Smart guy. I loved to talk to him. When we would talk, we'd talk about once or twice a year. We would just talk and get caught up on things, you know, and he was just a wealth of knowledge. I just listened. I love to listen to him talk. And very sharp as a tack. Like I said, going to work every day when he was 96. But yeah, he told me stories about when he was in the military and he heard, you know, people talk and, you know, talked about the brass talking. That's what he called them, the brass. And he heard him talk about, you know, going to Mars. There we go. Here's what it once was right there. These are the babies. And there's what it once was right there. Almost look like pines or something. No, they're not pines. I don't know. There's the babies. But yeah, he told me that they have been to Mars, been going to Mars for years. He wasn't even a secret. He said the Philadelphia experiment was real. There's the babies. Mama's babies right there. She had a lot of babies. They're all over the place. They make up a whole forest, right? There's Mama right there. There she is. And there's the baby. There you go. There's a good perspective. There's Mama and her babies. There you go. How about that? Pretty cool. They're all over the earth. There's evidence of these things all over the earth. This is one of the more obvious ones. It gets downplayed like, oh no, this is basalt from an eruption. If that was basalt from an eruption, it wouldn't have made it 4,500 feet tall. It would have tipped over. There's no way it would have remained so perfect like that. It remained perfect like that because it was much taller than that. And that's what's left. Basalt would have fallen over because it wouldn't have came out of the ground hard. It would have came out of the ground molten and it would have tipped over. So there's no way it could have maintained its vertical integrity up to 4,500 feet. That's almost a mile. Not happening in my reality. What's up, Julie? Baby Lane? 4 running away. Trying to look. I got the chat going over here, guys. Here you go. Here's a good look at Mama and her babies right there. That's Mama in the background standing tall, and there's her babies. There you go. It's like Earth's backyard erosion. What's up, Fires? Wood? I think so. I'm convinced. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I've seen it, man. I see it now. And you know, also when you have no doubt, when you kind of doubt, you're like, yeah, you know, could or couldn't be. I don't have any doubt anymore. That's Mama and her babies. Right on. Roger was Mudville. Well, he's not going to change my way of thinking. That's a tree. I don't care who he is or where he's from. That is an old tree right there, and that's her babies. Oh, Grandma. Okay, cool. You got a tree over in Yemen? Right on. I want to see it. Grandma Bev is showing coordination for a similar tree in Yemen. Right on. Oh, cool. Thank you. I got you. Thank you for that. Okay, let me try to copy and paste this. Cool. We're going there. Thank you, Grandma Bev. If I can pull this off, wish me luck. Here we go. I'm going to Yemen, I guess. Hang on, guys. Hold on. We going to Yemen, Grandma Bev? Yes. Here we go. Look at you, Grandma Bev. Wow. It's kind of scary looking, right? Look how deep that is. Thank you, Grandma Bev. Good find. What do we got here? I see the first thing they're saying, volcano, right? They just say volcano, hurrah. Okay, well, let's look and see. Let's form our own conclusion, right? Let's look and see. You know, the only thing I will say, I don't see any babies around here like you do over in Wyoming. There's no baby trees. So just being realistic. It's interesting, I will say. Almost looks like a hollowed out tree stump, you know? Good find, Grandma Bev. And notice and I've noticed too in other places around the world, I can see evidence of tree stumps in like the Western Pacific, in the Taiwan, the Philippines area, and I can see where people have migrated to what used to be, at least looked like to me, old tree stumps, and they live inside of the tree stumps. Like you see right here, you've got a very densely populated area at the base of whatever this was, whether it was a tree stump or whether it was a volcano. The only thing is it's so dry and barren here. There's no babies around. That's what I call the forest. If there was a forest of trees around here, then yeah, it'd be a no-brainer to me. Absolutely, it'd be an old tree. But it could be. Good find. We'd have to do some more research on this. Yeah, very cool. I've never seen this. Thank you for sharing, Grandma Bev. Right on. That is over in Yemen. Let's pull out and look at the features around. Well, that's very rugged terrain. You know, it's hard to interpret what's going on here. Kind of small. Let's measure. You want to measure? Let's do it. Measure the top. Almost 400 feet across at the top. So that would be if it were a tree, that would be a trunk. And I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying if it were, it'd be 400 feet wide. And that's kind of small, you know, if it were a tree. What we got going on here? That looks like some sort of man-made apparatus. I don't know what we got going on there. But boy, people are right up next to it. There's a facility over here, another facility here, vehicles, maybe some housing over here. Looks so dry and barren. And you know, the thing is, well, wait a minute, we might have a feeder. Do we have a feeder? By golly, we do. Huh. Grandma Bev, you might be right, because there's the feeder. All these big trees have rivers next to them. And there's a river, I'll be darned. Okay, well, that just increased the odds considerably, because they have to have a feeder next to them or there's no way they could have survived. I'll be darned. Very good. Is this a baby over here? What do we have here? If it is, no, that's not. I don't know what that is. But there's the feeder. Right on. Good job. Good find. Maybe roots over here. Yeah, I see what you're looking at. Yeah, maybe a part of a big root system. I got you. Yeah. Once I saw the feeder, then that just boosted the probability by about 50%. Doesn't have feeder, it ain't happening. And when you go to Madagascar and you look at the big tree stumps over there, at least they're tree stumps to me. I know some people will disagree. I'll never change my mind. There's feeders that come right up next to each one of those stumps, rivers, because they required so much water because they were so big. Very cool. Thank you. I'm going to save this location. I'll come back and check it out later. When we have more time. Let's do it. We'll just add it to that one there. There we go. Stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. Let me change the color. Make it a little bit bigger. We're going to put Yemen surface for now because we're not convinced. I'm still not convinced it's a tree, but I'm going to come back and take a look at that location. Very cool. And you know what? There's locations like this all around the world. I've found them in Taiwan. I've found them in the Philippines. I found them in Brazil. There's a very good example in Brazil. I would have to go in, I believe it was in northeastern-ish Brazil. But once you see it, again, you can't unsee it. There's evidence of these things all over the earth. There really is. Where are we at? Okay, there we go. Cool. Africa. Africa is another location that's loaded, especially up in through here. I think that's what gave the desert, a lot of its color. Yeah, granted, some of it could have came from the ground, but there's evidence over here too. The only problem with this area here, though, unless the geography just changed exponentially, there's not a lot of feeders up in through here, rivers. So yeah, there's a little bit of evidence in the North Africa area of possible big trees, but more so down in through here because you've got more feeders. We call them rivers today, but they had a job many years ago, and that job was to feed these giant living organisms all over the earth. That's what they did. And we have underground, you guys hear these underground aquifers. They're all over California. Farmers use these aquifers that contain water. They use it for farming and irrigation because they go so long over there sometimes without water, rainfall. They depend a lot on the water runoff out of the Sierra Nevadas. But the underwater aquifers are more than likely old tree roots that are hollowed out, holding water still to this day. Here's a big system right here of that's the Congo River. It was a river like that, about the same color where this showed up, but not over here in the Congo. It showed up just like that over by Mozambique. Yeah, really cool. That's real, guys. That's not a fake. That's actually real. And in today's world, you just never know. What we got here, is this another example of a possible? I don't think so. See something kind of round there, right? Does it have height to it? Come back here, please. No, I don't think so. Let me look. Hold on. Nah, I don't think so. If you look around, you can see evidence all over the earth of what were once trees that stood, mighty, mighty trees. And I think what happened, the atmosphere was much greater, much bigger. It was taller. Talking hundreds of probably a couple thousand miles, the atmosphere went up. So trees just naturally grew, to a few thousand feet. That was just normal. Like we think a tree today, 60 feet tall is big. To us, we think that's big. Well, going up into the upper atmosphere, 60,000 feet is about as high as we can go in an airplane. So a tree, tall tree would be 60,000 feet. Well, imagine if the atmosphere went up 200,000 feet. Well, then a tree 2,000 feet tall would just be normal. You wouldn't even look twice at it. Oh yeah, there's another one up in here, guys, somewhere. There's a very obvious tree, a couple of them over here in the Brazil area. You look around, you can find them. They're all over the earth. They're not anything that you can't convince me they're anything other than that. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. But that's pretty cool. I want to go there someday. I do. I want to go up here and check this out. I want to see it myself. Right there. And if we get there, which we'll get there someday, I'll do a live stream from there. Absolutely. Of Mama and her babies right there. See your babies all over the place. Look, still producing babies to this day. There they are. All these trees everywhere. That's what they once were. And there's a feeder, so you have all the necessary components. Question, why is the Devil's Tower flat on top? It's petrified tree stump. What cut it down? Very good question. What cut down the trees in Madagascar? Same situation over there. The tops are, for the most part, as flat as they can be because they've been weathered for thousands, maybe millions of years. So they're a little bit rough, but overall you can tell they were cut. Yes. And that's a good question, one that I asked myself. I asked myself the same question. I think somebody was in a hurry here and just cut it about 4,000 feet up. It's right there. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's right there. And you can see how it's weathered over the years. There you go. And here you go. Here it is. That is an old tree, guys. That is an old tree ski. There you go. See the comparison? You right there, when I put it in that position, you can't really tell them apart. I'm convinced. Absolutely. I am convinced 100%. No doubt about it. Good morning, good afternoon. I don't know if it's evening yet. Yeah, it is in some parts of the world. Who cut it down? Christina Brown? That's a good question. They say that thousands of years ago, giants roamed the earth. So you know how we can cut down 50-foot trees and, you know, we're only 6 feet tall. Well, if this thing was, I don't know, 2,000 feet tall, then the person that cut it down maybe was 20 feet tall. Who knows? Giles, does that tie into the civilization reset theory? Very well could. Good question. Good question, Graham. I think it very well could. Yes, sir. Good cut, Enoch. Yeah. I mean, that's what they say. They say giants were here. I don't know. I wasn't here. I wasn't here. Got to get a drink, guys. As you can tell, I need a drink. My voice is getting as dry as this desert out here. Email's working. The email is working, guys. So if you have anything you'd like to share, let me turn it off. You can send your photos to reports at mrmbb333.com. That's what that was, that little chime you heard. If you have any videos you'd like to share, you can send those to the Dropbox. I'll show you real quick and then we'll come back. Dropbox is right here. Have a large video. This is over here at the homepage of the website. mrmbb333.com. Click on that right there that says have a large video. Opens up a Dropbox. Just somewhere at the top of your video, please include your first name, date, and location. And I'll take it from there. That's it. I'll take it from there. What we got going on here? Oh, that's over in Africa. And I knew if I backed out too far, I would lose my place. And I did. That's okay, though. Where's my handy dandy? Oh, there it is. Tree comparison. Let me move it over here. Bring it back. Move this over. And bring this back over. And there you go. They're buddies. They're one big happy family, right? There they are. They're family. It's the way I see it. I'll never unsee it. I can't now. I've seen it. And thank you for the Yemen observation. I did not know that was over there. To be perfectly honest, I haven't looked that much over in places like Yemen and Saudi Arabia. It's so dry. The ground over there is super dry, and there aren't many feeders. So I've been looking in areas that had rivers, evidence of rivers still to this day, but that doesn't mean that there weren't rivers there thousands of years ago. But like in Madagascar, you can see evidence of the rivers still there today. And I think that was their job, Just like I mentioned in yesterday's video, hurricanes aren't just these radical storms that form for no reason. They form because they have a job to do, and their job is to disperse heat away from the equator to the northern part of and the southern part of the earth. That's their job, is to spread the heat around so it doesn't all build up and accumulate in the tropics. That's why there's rain in the tropics, because there's always that combination of heat and moisture. Well, a cyclone moves some of it away. So that's all it's trying to do. It's just trying to do its job. And sometimes, unfortunately, if it collects a lot of heat, it turns into a larger storm. And that larger storm can create more water. And as it's moving that water and heat to the north, it may run into land. So that's why we're watching hurricane activity very close this year. And if you guys are in a coastal area, any coastal area, whether it be in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, in anywhere coastal U.S., especially the Gulf and the East Coast, there's not going to be any tropical activity on the West Coast. Never seen that. If we ever see that, then we know we got something going on. But yeah, if you're in a hurricane-prone area, I got you covered this year. I do. I'm back on hurricane watch. I mean, I've always been on hurricane watch. I just never, the last few years, I've not done as many videos as I used to, but this year we're doing them. I got you. So yeah, here's the comparison, guys. Once I saw this, and I've seen other examples as well, I want to go to this tower in Wyoming. In fact, maybe we can figure out a way to get there here in the next year or two. I want to go see this place for myself. I want to just touch it, feel it, look around at the baby trees that are around there now that we call a big forest. It's not a big forest. Those are babies. Her babies right there. That's right, Big Mama right there, and that's their babies all around on the ground right there. So yeah, we're going to go there, and I'll do a live stream from there if we have access to internet. I don't know if they have internet there or not. Are there? Yeah, they probably do. I think that's the park office right there. Let's go look. You want to go look? Let's go look. Come on, let's go down here to ground level. What's going on here? Up. No, we got to go to 3D, my bad. So they probably have internet there, right? Oh, you're not going to take me on that road? No problem. Well, yeah, there's a building around the corner there. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's to go to the park, right? There she is, Mama and her babies. Those are the roots underneath. It's a big old root system. Absolutely. Totally convinced. We're going there someday. We're going to go check it out. We're going to go check it out. So what are you guys doing today, huh? They're cultivating the desert outside. They're cultivating the desert outside of Egypt. Oh, okay. Queries and theories. All right, cool. New Star Family member. Yeah, if you guys want to become a Star Family member, actually, I didn't post the link today. I think the link's in the description box. I'm sorry, guys. I normally post it in the chat, but yeah, if you'd like to join, that's great. The more the merrier. You know what I mean? I love it. Thank you, guys, and thank you. Queries and theories. Right on. Cool name. I swear I have to run to turn the TV all the way up. Please rewatch your videos. Oh, okay, on a TV. I'm sorry. Because you know what? I've got this thing on max. In fact, I'm over here looking at my volume gauge, which is right there. And I'm concerned it's too loud. So I apologize for that. I don't know what's up. You know what I mean? It should be more than loud. And I have listened to my videos, not on a TV. I've listened to them on a little handheld device, and the volume was, I thought, copacetic, right where it needed to be. So maybe it's got something to do with your type of TV. Maybe. I don't know how it could possibly do that, though. If you're using the YouTube app, it should be the same on any device, whether it be a handheld, an iPad, a laptop, an 80, 90-inch TV. It shouldn't matter. You're receiving bandwidth. You're receiving the same signal everybody else is. Bad monkey, no banana. That's cool. Chris Wood. What's going on, guys? Desert Watch. Correct. The volume is low. Here, I'll show you my, well, I can't do that because it'll screw up the screen. Now, the volume, here, I'll turn it up a little bit more. I don't want to turn it up too high because then I'll be redlining. There we go. Okay, now we are, yay. See, I'm getting close to redlining right there. Did that help? Now I'm probably too loud. Is that louder, guys? Nope, your volume is good. See, voiceless pilot. Sound quality on my phone is crap. Well, on my wife's phone, it's right on the money. Super sticker not working for me. Sam loves. Thank you, Sam. I don't know why. It should work, Sam. Haven't seen the dancing pears today. Petrified forest in Arizona. Listen, watch, person. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the petrified forest in Arizona. Absolutely. Can't hear you. My volume is on high. Better. Let me turn it up a little bit more then. You want me turned up a little bit more? Right on. Let's do it. Turn it up. Holy moly. We are redlining now. Can't turn it up anymore. Can't turn it up anymore, guys, or it'll be way too loud. That's very nice, Chris. Thank you so much. Days of Noah. Chris Wood, I hear you loud and clear. It has no rings. I got that on powers. I got that on low, so there shouldn't be very many. It's on low. I don't get credit for them anyway, so they're on low. Hello, Polenta. Volume is perfect. Thank you, Polenta. And Polenta's 450 miles away, and she can hear me perfect. Just kidding, but she is 450 miles away. We need sign language here. I'm not very good at sign language. Thank you, Don, saying it's better. D&D Florida Fun. Thank you. Look for tree rings on the top. I know it's a little discombobulated right now, but that's a good observation. Hey, Stacy. Stacy's a Star family member. See evidence of something up there, but no specific tree rings. Because Lord only knows how old this is. I bet you if you went up there, if you had the right equipment and went up there, keep in mind this is 4,500 feet up. If you went up there and was able to inspect this, other than, you know, our great view from Google Earth, but this is as close as we can get, and then it starts to become a little, you know, discombobulated. We can't see it that well. There very well could be rings if you cleaned all that off. We just can't see it. You know what I mean? That's not basalt. No way. No way. It's part of a tree. Go out and cut a tree down, pull the bark off. That's what you see right there. It's the same thing. Just older and bigger. That's Mama and her babies right there. Stacy, don't forget to press the like button, please. Yeah, press the like button, because you know what that does? It just helps the video, and it's free. Yeah, you guys can do that all day long. When are you going to give us an insight on your findings on our core? I'm working on that, Graham. I'm working on that. I don't have, oh, there's the light flash behind me. That is the coolest thing ever. I know you probably can't see it that well, but that is the best example ever of what they call crown flash. I don't know how that does it naturally like that. Notice how this curves like a tree would curve at the base? Look at that. I mean, there's just way too many things here for this not to be a tree ski. See the curve? How it comes down? That tells you it grew. It grew up. And it connects still. The roots are underneath there. Oh my goodness. Big Mama and her babies right there. You know it. There's some of her babies still hanging around. They ain't going nowhere. That's home. That's home to them. Sure. That's just part of the old tree right there that's fallen off from gravity, rain, has, you know, caused some of that stuff to fall off and accumulate over there. That's all. Sometimes the simplest explanation, guys, is the most accurate. Yeah, we overcomplicate things, and sometimes we overthink things, you know? The simplest answer is the right. It's the correct answer. Don't hesitate in your way of thinking. Do not hesitate. And we're going here someday. I've already made up my mind. I'm going to talk to the wife. we're going to the tower. We're going to do a live stream from the tower. We're going to go see Mama and her babies. You betcha. We're going there. Simple equals genius. You're right, Keir Stark. You know, keep it simple, man. You overcomplicate things, and then you almost lose interest, you know, because it's too complicated. Keep it simple. And you'll find that you'll be right more times than you're wrong. And we're not always right because we're not perfect. You know what I mean? Keep it simple, man. Graham, I've emailed you with my theory on our core and how it's causing all of our issues. Thank you, Graham. I can't wait to read it. Oh, Priscilla and Meaty, you solved the problem for me. Oh, you're welcome. Well, maybe it just needed turned up. I'm sorry, guys. I have it turned up like really loud. I thought it was too loud because I'm over there nearly redlining. I can see a bar graph over there that's bouncing over into the red zone. I just didn't want it to be too loud. That's all. I'm trying to keep everybody happy here. You know what I mean? I want to take you guys over to, and they use these things sometimes. What's it called? Hold on. We're going to Sequoia National Park. And there's a thing over here called, there you go. Oh yeah, the Sequoias. These are babies too. But it's on the screen. It's a screensaver of, what is it called? Sorry, guys, I'm just thinking out loud here. What's the screensaver on, well, you guys know the answer. I'll just ask you guys, what's the screensaver on the Apple laptops? It looks like a big rock. Help me out here, guys. Oh, it's too loud now, tiny man? Okay, let me turn it down just a little bit. There we go. Sorry about that. I don't know what year where they have the big rock on the hey, Donna Visco, Star Family member. Yeah, let's go. Thank you. What's the big rock on Apple's screensaver? And it's over here in the Sequoia National Forest. It's a rock that people climb. I believe it's over here in Yosemite National Park. I can't think of it. You guys know what I'm talking about. What's crazy over here? More trees. Okay. Well, I was going to take you guys to it because to me, it's another example of just it's a big tree. People climb this thing over here all the time. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, there's the Sherman tree right there. General Sherman. I think we're getting close. Okay. But there's a specific, oh, it's down in there. Yeah, those are old petrified trees, of course. Here's General Sherman. Hey, Sam. Sam Loves. Oh, we love you, Sam. Thank you for the super chat. Sam Loves. Okay, where did it go? Oh, there it is, General Sherman. Ah, the mighty General Sherman, right? Here we go. We're going to General Sherman. You guys want to see him? Where's the general at? Is that him right there? And again, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Stacy's a family member. Thanks, Stacy. These are babies right here. Look at them. You can see people down here. Look at how small they look to those trees. Those are called giant sequoias, right? But they're babies. They're little babies. Babies in the kingdom. They sure are. Now see this one here, and I can show you an example of a tree stump like this. In fact, I have it. This one doesn't necessarily have the tree rings. It has a slab. A lot of, like someone had mentioned earlier, looking for the tree rings. This one doesn't have them. That's a slab. And I have something right here. I have a folder of, oh, here we go. This one here has kind of got a combination of of both. It's more of a slab, but it does have a few rings in it. I believe that is somewhere in Utah. I was wanting to see General Sherman. Can we see General Sherman? Where's the General? Sequoia National Park. And those trees do look big, right? Absolutely. They're very impressive. I think they're super cool. Absolutely, they're super cool. But they're used to be bigger. Those are babies. Yes, they are. And Mama stood tall over here somewhere. Oh, here you go. Here's a cross section, and you don't see hardly any rings at all. You see signs of growth. You can tell it was a living organism, right? Whoa, that's big. Big to us, but still a baby. I can't think of what Apple used. It was a rock. It was the face of a mountain over here. The General Sherman. Gotta love it. There's the General right there. Standing tall. I think the General's about 300 feet tall. And look at the General. You can see the bottom. See how the bottom of the tree curves out? What's that look like? Looks like the big tall tree stump in Wyoming. There you go. Same thing. Curving out at the bottom. That's how they grow. Of course. 36 feet wide. And you can see down at the base curves out at the bottom, just like in Wyoming. How tall is the General? Circumference 103 feet wide. Age 2,200 years old. Baby in the kingdom. 275 feet tall. I was thinking it was around 300, so 275. And that's, I don't know if it's the tallest tree in the world or one of the tallest trees in the world. But there's also a surface feature out here. I don't know where it's at now. I'll have to find it and have it ready for my next video. And like right here, you can tell these were probably once trees right in through here. Where what's left of them today, it's kind of difficult to decipher. There's a lot of activity here, but when you see a forest like that, at least the way I view things, when there's a forest of trees, there were bigger trees that stood there in that same location eons ago. And these are just the babies that remain today. They don't get obviously near as big as they used to. You know, all right, there's an example of the General Sherman, sir. Anyway, on one of Apple's, and I use Apple, one of their screensavers they used years ago was a rock, or at least it's known as a rock today, from over here in the Kings Canyon, Yosemite National Park. And they actually used, I think they used two different years. They used two different rocks from this location. And to me, once I looked at them, to me, they didn't look like rocks per se. They look like big tree stumps, like what we were looking at over there in Wyoming. But there's evidence of them all over the place. There's evidence out here in Arizona, in northern Arizona, all over Utah. Utah is a very fascinating place. Seriously, it is. One of the biggest volcanoes in America is down here in southern Utah. There's a sleeping giant down there in southern Utah. The biggest supervolcano, I believe it's near Hurricane, Utah, down in this area here. I believe it is right in this neck of the woods. It's called Wah Wah. I didn't name it, but that's the name of it, and it's bigger, was bigger, maybe it still is, bigger than Yellowstone. Yeah. So this is all one big happy family out here. All these volcanoes and supervolcanoes and geysers and everything that occurs out here, you know, they're all family. They're all related. When you look at the big picture, it's really kind of small. They're all there for a reason, because they're all part of the same system, the same complex. There's an unusual feature. I noticed this earlier this morning. Look at that big counterclockwise rotation up in the Bering Sea. almost doesn't look natural, right? Pics of giant humans and animals petrified, revelations of God. Yeah, Earth is very fascinating. There's so many things you can find on Google Earth. You kind of have to have your mind open to looking at things through a different lens sometimes. You can't just accept things. Okay, that's a rock, or that's just this, that, and the other. You got to think outside the box a little bit. You really do. And then once it's revealed to you and you see it, you'll never be able to look at it the same again. It just takes a minute, I know when I first started my journey years and years ago, did a lot of schooling, took a lot of classes and things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm an independent thinker. I think for myself, I just think for myself, and I don't know. I like to figure things out on my own. I've always had to figure things out on my own, so I had some good teachers in certain areas, but I wanted to think on my own. So it's just how it is, or how I've come to be. I'm an independent thinker, and you should be an independent thinker too. You guys are all very smart. You figured out the hummingbird moth. Hey, Graham, what's up? The Eye of God, mountRainier, Africa looks amazing too. You're right. I know exactly where that's at, buddy. It's over here in the Western Sahara. It is, give me a minute, right there. Isn't that something? Now thank you, Graham, for bringing that up. This is a fascinating thing to talk about too, It is an amazing surface feature over here in Western Africa. And there's something else too, not far from here. It looks like a fish. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, right there. Oh yeah, there it is right there. Hold on, I gotta tilt this thing. I gotta turn it. But you have to adjust the color and lighting, and maybe that's the fish eye, but if you can see this thing right here, this looks like a big petrified fish. That looks like a fish. And what I've done with that particular area, I don't have it ready right now. In fact, I hadn't forgot about it. I just wasn't thinking about it this morning. But if you take a screen grab of this area and work the color, especially the color, and you can pull forward the original colors, maybe, you can totally see what looks like a giant fish. You can almost see scales there. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. Some sort of a mine there. Yeah, this is a cool place, Graham. You're right. Isn't that neat? Talk about rugged terrain. And this is where we're getting our free dust. Floridians are getting dust-coated bagels nowadays, free of charge. Dust traveling over 4,000 miles to decorate their morning bagels with Sahara dust. Oh, yummy! I love it. That's that little unit right there. I don't know. I don't see any feeders, so it's probably not a tree. Trees got to have feeders, man. mountRainier. That's neat. The Ricat structure. Ricat structure, often called the Eye of Africa, is a prominent circular geological feature in the Adrar Plateau of the Sahara. It's located in mountRainier. Right there it is. Pretty cool, man. And that's something too. If you take a screen grab of that, modify the colors, it is absolutely outstanding. In fact, I'm going to do that later on today. And I'll show you guys the fish. You want to see the fish? I'll show you the fish later. Fish out of water right there. You can't see it now, but once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Yeah. Pretty cool. I wish I had this again. I had it dialed in right there. That is a real picture, guys, and it's right down here along the coast of I believe it's Botswana or Botswana and Zimbabwe or Mozambique. It's right in this area here. But it is real, and Africa creates some super cool surface features, as you can see from the eye we just saw there in the Western Sahara. That's a classic. You're going to see a fish. I'll have it in the next video, the giant fish up there as well. And I'll find the tree. There's a evidence of a tree over in Brazil. I'll find that, and I'll have it in my next video too. It's really cool and very obvious. And there's another couple of examples over here in the Southern Pacific. There's some down in Australia as well. I've found them literally all over the world. It's in this part of the world. There's a very obvious, at least to me, looks like the remnants of a giant tree. And what's left is the top of the stump, and what's left of the stump, and then the root system. And there's a very densely populated area right inside that root system. They're living on the root system, I should say. At least it looks like it. It's really cool once you see it. And again, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You really can't. Cool stuff. Yeah, I love Google Earth. I gotta say, Google Earth is one of my favorite apps. And what do we got going on here, guys? If you take away all the writing, real quick, we're gonna wrap it up here. Do you see something here? What do you see? Because the chat always figures it out. Notice something here that looks kind of unusual. See how, if you look at the lay of the land and look at the terrain, notice how something like pours off of the Tibetan range up here. See how it just kind of pours down into Yunnan and Sichuan? See that? What looks like something just kind of either grew or poured down that way, or grew up. See it? What is that? How did that become like that? You know what I mean? Again, that's also some very fascinating surface features that are wide open to interpretation. You could interpret that a lot of ways, but every time I look at that, I always see how that looks like it just kind of melted or poured down into Yunnan, north of Laos. I don't know, very interesting part of the world as well. And there's many different locations around the world that are super, super fascinating. And I have an old map. I can take you guys back in time millions of years ago. And we can look at the surface of, look at the surface of Antarctica when it had no ice on it. Or at least we'll have a general location of when and where it was. Antarctica wasn't always in Antarctica. So at one point in time, Antarctica, it's hard for us to fathom that because we've always known it with ice. But it was thriving with life forms. So there's all kinds of things underneath the ice down in Antarctica that we've never been exposed to. So, and that probably wouldn't be a really good thing if we ever were, to be honest, because the bacteria and viruses that could potentially be there that are frozen in time may not agree with life forms today on Earth. I don't know. The tail of the giant flatfish. You're right, Graham. There's I'll show you guys once I get it all dressed up in its Sunday best. And today's Sunday, so I'll do it here in a little bit. It won't take me long to do. And you'll see the giant, and it is a flatfish over there in the Western Sahara. And maybe it's that giant fish that's throwing this giant sand plume over here towards all of us in the North America part of the world. You can see here's the sand in color. Look at it up into the Gulf now, giving people a good dose of sand in southern Louisiana right now. All of Florida. Ah, look at that. Isn't that lovely? Well, the west coast of Florida now is kind of in the clear for the time being. Caribbean, clear, but there's a big plume coming. But this is the current sand situation, the sand particles that get lofted up into the air, and they travel all the way across the ocean, east to west, oddly enough, you know. Here it is on Zoom Earth. Not Zoom Earth, Google, not Google, Null School. Hello, Null School. And you can see the plume is pretty much a continuum, 3,000 to 4,000 miles all the way across. Well, it's 4,000 miles across, but you can see a little bit of break in the action right there. So we'll say 3,000, and then going up into the Caribbean and Gulf, maybe another 1,000. But no hurricane activity out there. Hurricanes cannot form in that dry of an environment. And not only dry, it's a little windy, wind shear. There has to be wind or the sand wouldn't be aloft, right? So just seeing the sand in the air tells you there's wind. Let's give a quick update, take a look at what's going on at mountRainier. Let me refresh the page. I haven't done it yet this morning. Gone up a little bit. Yesterday was 1,042. Today it's 1,046. So activity continues to mount at the summit of mountRainier. It's not slowing down any. So a lot going on, guys, in the northern hemisphere with earthquakes and an absence of seismographs. We're going to work on that later on this afternoon. I have some footage of some experiments that a person has been doing, and I've confirmed that they're real. So we'll share them and see what's going on at Yellowstone. There does seem to be some activity going on up there, and we have no access to seismographs. What? So we're going to check that out in our next video. Thank you guys for stopping by. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you this Sunday morning. I'm going to hop off here, go get a little bite to eat. And I got some things I'm working on right over here. I got 2 things done. I wanted to share the photo. It was just a talking point. That's a really cool photo. And that is a real photo, by the way. That's in Southeast Africa. Super, super cool. And yes, it looks like a tree. That you can see the thicker parts of the muddy soil. Talking about mineral rich water. Wow. Accumulates right there at the mouth of the delta where it opens, and then everything kind of branches off into fingerlings and then gets, dissipates. But very, very cool. And it happens not only there, but in other places as well. Not quite as intricate in detail as that one, but close. You get the idea. They do perform that way. Yes, they do. Invisibly alien by. Love you guys. Love you too. Awesome. Eat clean. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Keir Stark. Thank you for all the likes and the super chats and just hanging out with me this morning. I really appreciate it. I really do. Stop by anytime. You're always welcome. And one final note: if you guys have anything sky related, as far as anything at all, if you see something unusual in the ecosystem. I've had people send me pictures here recently of unusual plants, and oh, by the way, I have another moving branch and no wind. We've been seeing this now for 3 or 4 years in a row. People have sent me moving tree branches and leaves, and there's no wind. Got another one to share with you guys. Really cool. So if you have anything interesting you'd like to share, especially sky phenomena, storm photos, whatever you think may be interesting, we'll check it out. You can send your photos pretty easily to reports at mrmbb333.com. It's sometimes large videos don't attach to the email just because they're simply too big. But if you have a big video and you want to get it through, again, come over here to the homepage of the website, mrmbb333.com. Look for that red tab right over here that says have a large video, and it can handle it. It's a drop box. You drag and drop your video in there. Just put your first name, general location. If you don't feel comfortable, just your state. If you don't feel comfortable with that, whatever continent you're living on, just a general location, that's all. And the date, and I'll take it from there. I'll analyze it and present it in a video. Now, sometimes I get overwhelmed with a lot of information, but I do get through it. So just know I do see your stuff, and I really, really appreciate it. You guys are wide awake and on the ball. You do not miss a trick. Thank you so much. Polenta, especially Polenta over there in Northern California, she does not miss a thing. She's like a hawk over there in Northern California. Sends me a lot of good stuff. Thank you, Polenta. I always appreciate and look forward to your photos and things. Listen, guys, have a great day. I'll talk to you later on, probably this afternoon. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there.